Hello everyone, my name is RADU HOROIU. I'm a professional services engineer at Infinet Wireless. Thank you very much for joining me today. We are going to discuss about InfiMONITOR, which is the network monitoring system of Infinet Wireless. The agenda for today includes 3 items. I will start with a general overview of InfiMONITOR, highlighting its main characteristics and features. Next, I will present the installation procedure of InfiMONITOR. It's not complicated, but we had a few tech support cases opened on this subject, so we thought it would be a good idea to show the whole process so that anyone can be able to install InfiMONITOR without any problems. And in the third and last item, I will give you some insights and show you some useful features of InfiMONITOR that can help you get the most of your network monitoring system. So, InfiMONITOR is the network monitoring system of Infinet Wireless. It allows you to monitor the status and health of your Infinet devices and links and will help you to timely respond to changes in your wireless network, increasing its manageability and scalability. The monitoring can easily be done by only one person from a network operations center. Next, let's take a look at the main characteristics of InfiMONITOR that make it a very useful tool for network administration. First of all, InfiMONITOR is very easy to use. It has a clutter-free and user-friendly web interface. The devices can be discovered automatically within the Mint network, and the update to the latest version of the software is performed automatically as long as InfiMONITOR has internet access. So you will get the latest updates for free and you won't have to do anything. They will be installed automatically. Next, InfiMONITOR has been entirely developed by Infinet Wireless in-house, so it's not using a third-party platform. This means that the software is specifically designed to work with the Infinet Wireless devices and that we have full control over every feature. InfiMONITOR provides powerful network management capabilities. It can be used to manage very large networks of virtually any size. It has been successfully tested under a network load of 10,000 units. Next, InfiMONITOR allows for a comprehensive analysis of the monitorization data. There are several parameters that are monitored for both links and hosts, and for the hosts, the statistics report can be generated in 2 ways, as linear graphs or as data tables. Also, InfiMONITOR stores the entire event history from the moment it was installed. The report data is kept for 1 year, then it is cycled. And finally, InfiMONITOR offers flexible licensing depending on the number of units that you want to monitor. You can choose between 4 paid licenses which support up to 100, 500, 1000 and the full license which supports an unlimited number of nodes. A free standard license is available for up to 20 Infinet devices, and you can also request a free 30-day trial license for an unlimited number of units. For more information about licensing, please contact our sales department, sales@infinetwireless.com. The main panel of the InfiMONITOR web GUI includes 3 sections which allow you to easily access the main features of the network monitoring system. The first section is called Network Monitoring and it has 4 subsections: Events, Links, Hosts, and Network Map. I will go into more details about each subsection later on. The second section is called Reports, and here you can view statistics data about the devices and links in your network. And last, the Settings section, where you can find useful features like event definition by creating rules, the auto discovery function, and the email notification configuration. Moving on to the second item, where I will show you how to install InfiMONITOR using a virtual machine monitor. Before the installation, you must know that InfiMONITOR comes in as an ISO image, so a dedicated server or a virtual machine is required for its installation. And the minimum hardware requirements are Intel Core i3 CPU at 3 GHz with the 64-bit architecture, 4 GB of RAM, and 200 GB of free storage space. Please note that these are the requirements for monitoring up to 50 units. If you have more than 50 units in your network, you will need more hardware resources. For more information, please refer to the InfiMONITOR user manual, which is available on the Infinet Wireless website in the documentation section. From our website, you can also download the latest InfiMONITOR ISO image, more precisely from infinetwireless.com/product/InfiMONITOR. Then, please download the latest Oracle VM VirtualBox from the Oracle website. Any other hypervisor is supported, like VMware, Hyper-V, and so on, but we recommend VirtualBox for two reasons. One, it is an open source software, and two, all releases of InfiMONITOR are first tested by Infinet using VirtualBox. In the next few slides, I will show you how to configure VirtualBox in order to be able to install InfiMONITOR. First, you must install VirtualBox, which I won't show here because it's really simple. So you just have to click next, answer yes when asked if you want to proceed with the installation, then click finish and you're done. Then start VirtualBox and begin setting up the virtual machine for InfiMONITOR. Click on New. Next, enter the name of the virtual machine. Select Type Linux and version Other Linux 64-bit and then click Next. Please note that if you don't have the option to select Other Linux 64-bit, most probably it is because the Hyper-V feature of Windows is enabled. To disable it, go to Turn Windows Features on or off and make sure Hyper-V is unchecked. Next, you must allocate the RAM resources to the virtual machine according to the hardware requirements. The minimum is 4 GB. Then select Create a virtual hard disk now and click on Create. The next step is to select the hard disk file type as a VirtualBox disk image and click Next. Then select Fixed Size for the hard disk file and click Next. Select the virtual hard disk size. The minimum recommended size is 200 GB, but you might need much more, up to several terabytes depending on the size of your network. Then click Create. When the wizard is finished, select the InfiMONITOR virtual machine and click on Settings. Then go to System and select the boot order as below. Next, go to Storage and select the empty optical unit. Then browse for the InfiMONITOR ISO image. When loaded, it will look like this. Then go to Network, Adapter 1 and select Bridged Adapter. Choose the network adapter that will be used for connecting to the monitor devices, the physical monitoring interface. Promiscuous mode should be set to Allow All and cable connected must be checked. Please note that InfiMONITOR can only manage one network adapter, so if you wanted to have access to 2 or more different networks, including internet, you must use an external router. Then click OK. The InfiMONITOR virtual machine settings are finished and the installation can proceed. Begin by selecting the InfiMONITOR virtual machine, then click on Start. When the InfiMONITOR installer is loaded, press Enter. Now the installation is initiated and a few configuration steps need to be performed. Press Enter to continue. Then select your time zone from the list. Next, enter the NTP servers or leave the default ones and hit Enter. Then select the virtual hard disk that you have created earlier. Select the network adapter. Then configure the IP address that will be used to access InfiMONITOR. Since the virtual machine interface is connected, bridged, with the physical network adapter, the IP address configured at this step should be from the same network as the one used by the physical network adapter of the server computer. Next, configure the net mask. Then configure the default gateway, which is the IP address of the physical network interface of the server computer. Next, configure the name server address, which is the same as the default gateway. And then hit Continue in order to proceed with the installation. Wait for the installation to complete. In the end, the following message will be displayed. Hit Reboot in order to boot from the hard disk and get the InfiMONITOR processes running. After the reboot, you are informed about the web interface access, IP address and credentials. You can also enter service mode at this point. In service mode, you can either view or edit the network settings configured during installation, or you can reboot InfiMONITOR. Press Enter to open the network settings. The Edit option is available here. Moving on to the third item of today's presentation, which is about insights and useful features of InfiMONITOR, I would like to start with accessing the web GUI of InfiMONITOR using the IP address configured during installation. Depending on your web browser, it is possible to get the following message. This is due to the fact that the required protection certificate is not assigned by the Certification Authorities Center. It does not affect the InfiMONITOR security. To prove the certificate trust, expand the Advanced tab and click on Proceed. Next, you will be prompted for the authorization data. The default credentials are username admin and password admin. So, by default, InfiMONITOR has an administrator account which cannot be removed with the same name and password, admin. You can only change its password and assign an email address to it. Other accounts can be created by going to Users and Groups, Add User. Here I have created a guest account as an example. Groups of accounts can also be created. Individual authorization accounts can be created for each operator of the monitoring system, and the access privileges can be assigned to a single account or to a group of accounts. Next, I want to show you how to add units to your InfiMONITOR. So, to manually add a device, go to the Host Management page in the Settings section and click on the Add Host button. Fill in the fields of the Add Host window with the IP address, SNMP port, SNMP version, and SNMP credentials of the unit you want to add, and then click on Create. Now, until InfiMONITOR can establish a connection with the unit, it appears in the Pending Hosts window. If the device is pending for a long time, this can indicate that the authentication credentials are incorrect and/or the SNMP server has not been started on the device. Check the settings and correct them if necessary. In order to be able to monitor the Infinet units, you have to initially perform the SNMP configuration for each device. In the main menu of the web interface of a device, go to Basic Settings SNMP and follow the next steps. Check Start SNMP and uncheck Version 1 Enable. Add an SNMP user and password. Enable SNMP traps. Set the agent IP, which is the IP of the unit. In my case, it's 10.10.10.10. Set the destination IP, which is the InfiMONITOR IP address. In my case, it's 10.10.10.95. And check SNMP version 2 for all traps. And finally, select the criteria for triggering events. InfiMONITOR has the auto-discovery function, which is enabled by default. This means that after one unit has been manually added, all the units which are in the same mint area as that unit will be added automatically. If you want to disable auto-discovery, you must go to Discovering in the Settings section. In InfiMONITOR, all events can only be triggered by specific rules. The rules contain matching conditions and are grouped into groups of rules. The Events Generation Subsystem chart is shown on the screen right now. So each group of rules includes 3 sections. The Devices section, which contains the list of devices to which the rules from the group will apply. The devices can be added one by one or as a group if they have a tag. The Rules section includes the list of rules that will trigger events. And the Notifications section, which allows for notifications to be configured and sent to certain users when the events are triggered. InfiMONITOR comes with a default group named All Hosts and a set of 10 predefined rules. You can find them in the Settings section of the main panel by opening the Event Rules window, which has 2 tabs: Groups of Rules and Rules. You can create a new group by clicking on the Create Group button. In the first tab of the Create New Group of Rules window, which is called Hosts, you can assign or exclude devices from the group. If you have multiple hosts which are tagged with the same tag, you can just add the tag to the group and the rules will apply to all the devices that have that tag, except the ones that are in the excluded hosts list. In the second tab, called Rules, you can assign rules to your group. The events will be generated only by the rules that are in the Assigned Rules list. And in the third tab, called Notifications, you can assign the users that will receive the notifications according to this group of rules. Also, you can configure the email notification template. In the subject and body of the template, you can use variables like object, status, severity, rule, and so on. To get the complete list of all variables, click the question mark icon next to the fields. Make sure Notifications Enabled is checked, otherwise the emails will not be sent. In the Rules tab, all the predefined rules of InfiMONITOR can be edited, or you can create new rules by clicking on Create Rule. In the first tab of the Create New Rule window, you must configure the settings for the new rule. rule name, severity, message, and description. For example, I have created a simple rule called low signal level that triggers a warning event whenever the received signal level for the current bitrate of a unit drops below 25 dB. I have also checked may be resolved automatically in order to allow the status of the rule to be automatically changed to resolve when the condition of the rule is no longer met, namely when the signal level parameter rises above 25 dB. However, in case of irreversible events, a firmware upgrade for example, it doesn't make sense to use this setting. In the second tab, you must configure the condition or set of conditions that need to be met in order to trigger an event. Here I have just a simple condition, link current level less than 25, but you can create a more complex set of conditions using logical operators like AND, OR, and NOT, the list of parameters, and the comparison operators like equals, not equal, greater than, less than, and so on. Now, after creating a new rule, don't forget to add it to a group, or else it won't take effect. This is very important. If you create a rule and don't add it to a group, it will not trigger any events. Any of the rules from the rules list can be edited or deleted, even the predefined ones, so please be very careful. If you delete any rule, it will be permanent and it won't trigger any more events. Moving on to the monitoring section, which includes 4 subsections: events, links, hosts, and network map. The main mechanism that is used to retrieve data from the hosts is polling. The standard polling interval for each unit is 5 minutes. The units also send SNMP traps to InfiMONITOR whenever an event occurs. In the events subsection, first we have the event list, which has 2 display modes, live and history. In the live mode, which you can see on the screen right now, the events are shown in real time, strictly in chronological order. By default, only the last 50 events are shown, but you can expand the list to 250 events by using the switch in the upper right. In the history mode, you have access to all the generated events and you can filter them by the time of occurrence. For each event, the following information is displayed: event status, event severity, object name, rule, description, time of occurrence, and event count. Now I want to explain a bit the meaning of the event status. The 4 different status types, as you can see in the upper left corner of the event list, are as follows. New. This status is set automatically for all newly triggered events. It indicates that the event has not been acknowledged or resolved. Acknowledged is a status that is manually set by the user of InfiMONITOR, and it indicates that the appearance of the event has been acknowledged and the appropriate action has been taken in order to solve the problem, or there is no action needed. The aged status is set automatically for events that have not been acknowledged and resolved within 24 hours from the moment of appearance. It can also be set manually. In case the event occurs again before the assignment of the aged status, then the countdown of 24 hours starts again. And the last possible status is resolved. This status is set automatically for the resolved events because the reason of occurrence has disappeared. It can also be set manually. Next, in the right side of the web GUI, we have 3 additional sections that display detailed information about each event when you click on it. The accumulated events window, where we can see the history of the status change for each event. The event details window, where you can find information about the device or link that has been affected. And the affected rule window, which displays information about the rule that has triggered the event. In the links subsection, you can find information about every link in your network. So first you can see the list of all the links, and for each link you have information like link type, status, bitrate, current level, retries, errors, RX load, and tags. Then when you click on a link, additional info about it is displayed. Link properties, where you have information like link distance, TX power, IP addresses, and so on. And host properties, where you can find detailed information about each of the 2 linked devices, hardware model, CPU load, GPS coordinates, and so on. In the third item of the monitoring section, called hosts, you have information about each individual device from your network. First, you have the list of all your Infinet devices, along with information like status, model, serial number, and software version. Then, when you click on a host from the list, additional info is displayed in the right side of the interface. Host properties, where you can find parameters like CPU load, port temperature, memory usage, and so on. And network properties, where you can find information like the IP address of the host, the links that the device has established with the other hosts, and detailed info about each interface of the device. And in the last subsection of the monitoring section, we have a graphical representation of the network topology. This allows you to have a visual overview of how your devices are connected within your network. You can use the search bar to find a certain link or host. The plus and minus buttons allow you to zoom in and out, while the auto scale button can be used to set the optimal scale of the map so that all the units fit on the screen. You can also choose to filter out the mint or PRF links. When you click on a device or a link, the properties of the object will appear in the right side of the interface. The objects change their colors according to the events that occur. So the external color depends on the current host status. In this example, the external color is orange, which indicates that the host status is unknown. The internal circle color depends on the maximum severity among the unresolved events of the host. And in my case, the internal color is red, so I have at least one critical unresolved event related to this host. And in the center of the circle, there is a number that represents the total number of unresolved events, which in this case is 2. The blue external ring that surrounds the circle indicates that the respective host is selected and its properties are displayed. If you want to view the geographical location of your devices on Google Maps, hit the Map button in the top right corner of the window. Make sure that each unit has its coordinates correctly configured using manual configuration or a GPS module. Obviously, if a unit does not have the GPS coordinates configured, it will not be displayed on the map. Moving on to the report section, where you can use the statistics data stored by InfiMONITOR to make graphs and data tables in order to analyze the performance of your wireless network. You can choose which data to display using the menu from the upper part of the interface. So first, you have to choose between links and hosts. I will choose links for the first example. Then you have to select one of the available link performance parameters: TX bitrate, TX power, RX load, link load, current level, and retries. And I will choose TX bitrate. Next, you must select the view type, and for links, only the linear graph view is available. Then you must set the time interval for displaying the data. And finally, you must select the objects for which the statistics should be displayed. For this example, I have chosen the links between BS1 and the 3 CPEs. The resulted graph shows the combined TX bitrate statistics for the 3 links in the time period that has been set. By moving the cursor along the graphs, you can view the values of the parameters at any moment. Please note that the maximum number of links for which you can simultaneously display statistics is 3. And the statistics data is kept for 1 year. After that, it is cycled. And I will show you one more example. This time I have chosen hosts. The available statistics parameters for hosts are CPU load, memory usage, board temperature, firmware, and device status. I have selected CPU load. Then you can choose between linear graph and data table. I have selected linear graph. Next, you must set the time interval. And then you must select the hosts from the list of objects. And after you select the hosts, the graphs are displayed. The maximum number of hosts for which you can simultaneously display statistics is 20. Thank you once again for your time, and I hope to see you again during our next webinar.